Overall, I should really write a script before I do these. Hey book lovers, Cindy Books here today with a new video for you guys, and I think you're gonna like this one, so get ready for that. So today I present to you a book review of a book that I read in the matter of 2 days, mostly because I wanted to get my June reading goal, I guess, and so I read the book An Abundance of Katherines by John Green, and so now we're going to talk about it. So An Abundance of Katherines by John Green, it's a John Green book, so it's bound to have that, you know, that John Green formula that his books have. Let me dive in a little deeper if you guys don't know. The John Green formula, TM, is something where he takes a character, mostly a white guy who's like a teenager who's not as popular as he wants to be, and then he has like a quirk about him or an interesting hobby that most guy teenagers wouldn't have, and then he has this quirky best friend who also has a quirk about them or a hobby, and then he has this like unattainable girl that he's after throughout most of the novel that sometimes just ends up turning around to be not his main love interest, which is the case of this book, but it could also be the case of Looking for Alaska, of Paper Towns, and what's another John Green book? This one right here, His Part in Let It Snow, same formula. Now that being said, I am still a hardcore John Green fangirl. Like, I'm pretty sure I own all of his books. I don't own The Fault in Our Stars, do I? I don't think. I don't own The Fault in Our Stars. Wow, man, I have a hoodie, I have a poster, but I don't have the actual book itself. What is this? Anyhow, An Abundance of Katherines is set on this guy named Colin, who is your half-Jewish white teenage boy who, get this, is a child prodigy that's kind of washed up and doesn't know what to do with his life. And he has a thing for dating girls named Catherine, hence the title of the book. And so 19 Katherines and Counting is the very beginning of the blurb, and you get to see that through him and his best friend's interactions, and then him and said best friend Hassan, or Hassan, I think that's how you pronounce it. There was one time in the book where this kind of redneck pronounced it Hassan, but I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it, and I didn't read it like that when I first read the book, so Hassan. And they go on a road trip to, like, you know, bro it out, help Colin over his heartbreak over his latest Catherine, and so on. But the road trip gets a little crazy once they land into Gutshot, Tennessee, where they meet some other characters and the book escalates and so on. If you haven't read this book yet, then I suggest you read the book, and then, because it's a really quick read, I read it in like 2 days, and then come back and we can talk about it. But as of now, this is going to be a spoiler section. Now, the thing I came across when I was reading this book is that I didn't really know for the longest time whether I liked Colin as a character or not. Like, I would be reading and I'd be like, wow, Colin's a prick. But then other times I would be reading and I'd be like, you know what? I date Colin. And then in the next chapter I'd be like, wow, he's really stupid for a prodigy. And then I'd be like, but he's cute stupid. It was a very back and forth situation with me and this character. But my synopsis of Colin's character after I read the entire book is that, yes, I do like Colin as a character, mostly because when he does have a problem or he knows that something is going wrong with his person, because Hassan calls him self-centered and he has this big worried thing about mattering, blah blah blah, he self-corrects, and that's something I like in a character, when they have a mistake and they realize it and then they fix it. So yes, I ended up liking Colin. Not as much as I liked Hassan's character, because, man, that's another thing in this book, humor. Just to give you a little taste of the book's humor, let's see, one of my favorite parts is when the rooster was waking them up because they were in Gutshot, Tennessee, so they're gonna have farm animals, you know? And so Colin was like, the rooster crowed again. Cock-a-doodle-dum, mother... They say... That's another thing, they say fugger instead of, you know, the actual word because they're funny like that. Colin mumbled, but the rooster cock-a-doodle did. Also, Hassan is Muslim, and so when he talks about things being haram in Islam, which is things that you're not supposed to do, he drinks and Hassan's excuse is like, yeah, well, in Gutshot, do as the Gutshotians do. Colin's like, your religious commitment is an inspiration to us all. And I just love that. And then the part when Lindsay is leading Colin up to her little secret hideout, and she's like, okay, now for the rock climbing part. Colin looked up at the craggy face of the stone. There are probably people who can successfully negotiate their way up that rock, he thought, but I am not one of them. Also, something interesting about this book is that it has footnotes along the way, which if you've gotten this far, then you've probably read the book, so you know. But I found that really interesting. But sometimes, like, the ADHD in me would get distracted, and I'd be reading a sentence and I'd see a number and I was like, okay, now I gotta go look at the footnote, and I'd read the footnote, and then I'd lose my place on the page because I couldn't find the tiny little number, and it was a big thing whenever I was reading this book, but I did really enjoy them, and the little like side commentary, you can sense the John Green in, and it was great. Also, something I didn't realize until like as I was reading the book, you know when you're reading books and they don't specifically say a time or a day, you just imagine it in the present. But I wasn't realizing or thinking about the fact that John Green probably wrote this a long time ago and it got published a long time ago. And so later, whatever they're talking about the theorem, and Hassan is like, oh, well, put me together with Lindsay Lohan because I'd like to convert her to Muslim. I was like, man, this book must be really old because when's the last time Lindsay Lohan's been relevant? I was like, man, when's the last time Lindsay Lohan's been relevant? 2006? I looked at the copyright date and it was published in 2006. A big shock moment for me was when he was talking about the Great One, or Catherine 1, and then it turned into Catherine 19, so technically there's only been 18 Catherines and counting, even though it's not really counting anymore because he and Lindsay are a thing. I knew that was gonna happen from the moment he met Lindsay and was like talking about how attractive her smile was. I was all about that from the beginning. Sailed that ship right into shore. Also, side note, just like one of those footnotes in the book, screw the other Colin, TOC. Like, what? I need to learn how to bleep cuss words out so I can do that. Something I will admit, as I was going into this book, I just read the blurb and I heard about it from a friend that it was about a guy who was like obsessed with girls dating them named Catherine. And I was expecting to just get a long story of every recollection of the relationships, and so just like chapter by chapter his experiences with dating the Katherines. But I did like the little summary that he gave Lindsay, like his story that he told her at the end with all the different Katherines. I just wish it was somewhat more broad because I did want to know like how he came to date all those Katherines and how you could find 18 different Katherines around you. But yes, this has been a review of An Abundance of Katherines by John Green. Overall, I really enjoyed the book. Like, just as a quick read for when I'm bored in the summer and don't have anything to do, I just finished this and it was a good read. I was thoroughly enjoying it while I was reading it, and there were some laugh out loud moments in there. Like some of the ones I read earlier, I love the humor in this book, and the little graphs Colin draws too is A++, A+. But that's about it, you guys. Thank you for watching, tuning in to my book review, and comment down below your thoughts on the book, because I really enjoyed it, so I hope you guys did too, but if you didn't, just tell me down below. And don't forget to like it up this video if you want to see more book reviews, and subscribe, because that's a thing you should do to see my actual reviews, you know? Yeah. Alright, but that's all for now, so bye guys. Spoiler section, and I really don't want to refilm that, so I think I'm just going to keep my phone going off.